Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's a little low, I think. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol.
And the English translation is it on? I don't know. Is it? I have no idea. Oh, it is, okay. And the English translation is, "O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?" It's okay. The sixth sloka of the verse talks about the experience of how we have to come closer to the Lord with tears of love, flowing constantly. It's not happening to me. I don't know about you guys, but it's not happening to me. So let's ask ourselves, in our everyday lives, right? When do we have tears constantly flowing? In what situation? Let's hear some answers so we are all awake. Of what? Losing something. When we lose something, we cry and cry and cry and cry like the lost puppy, you know. In my country, we have a very bad joke, and I've said this to one devotee, and he just cracked up. It's a bad joke, but it's safe to say. In my country, whenever the husband is very sad, or the wife is very sad, or they do something stupid, we say, "Oh, did your wife run away? Did your husband leave you?" Like, why are you so upset? That is when we cry, right? And it flows constantly when we miss something, when we lose something, when something has been taken away from us. The tears just come, constantly flowing when we lose something. And what kind of a situation do we experience when our voice chokes up? Think of a situation when you feel like your voice got choked up and you can't speak. Any answers? Yes. Yes. Blocking. The voice chokes up. Yeah. I know for me is when I get questioned by my seniors and I know I'm going to get a spank on my hand. Okay, I'm in trouble, my voice chokes up. Right? Or when we do something wrong, when we get punished, our voice chokes up. Then we feel the immediate experience, oh my God, my voice is going to, why am I choking up? Right? Or when we're in fear, when we're put in a fearful situation, our voice chokes up. Natural human characteristics. And what kind of a situations creates goosebumps, or as they say, when your hairs stand up? What kind of situations? I know for me is when I have to go, what do you call that? When they have to go up the amusement thing that you go up on us. Oh my God, that one is like, not only do my hands stand, I have to hold my heart in my hand. Yeah, right? You get goosebumps, your hands, they're like, oh my God. The fear of being dropped, right? Is when all kinds of emotions come. Why doesn't that happen to us when we chant the holy name? It's supposed to get us to that stage, right? Lord Chaitanya has come in the form of a devotee, one of us, and is teaching us. He's demonstrating to us, and he's praying, when will my eyes be decorated? Now imagine when you decorate something, it's supposed to look beautiful. When we have tears on our face, we don't look beautiful. If anything, we look like tired, exhausted, sad. Doesn't look decorated. But Lord Chaitanya is saying, no, but when I have tears flowing from my eyes because of you, I look beautiful. Right? But why is that not happening? Why is it that we're not able to feel that? So let's go deeper and find out what are the blocks in our lives that's not allowing us to experience the tears flowing constantly, the hair standing, the voice choking. What is blocking? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that spiritual life begins with sincere faith, followed by, give a wild guess, what's the next? Followed by, what do you think? No? I want to make this as interactive as possible so that we all stay awake. Sadhu Sangha, devotee association. Sincere faith followed by association. Now, why do you think Bhaktivinoda Thakur said spiritual life begins with sincere faith followed by sadhu sangha? Why did he not say chanting? He could have said chanting, but he said sincere faith followed by devotee association. Why not chanting first? Why did he say followed by sadhu sangha? What do you think? Any thoughts? Because it is only in the devotee association that we begin to practice. Because of the devotees When we come together, we learn practice. If not, it's not going to come. Practice makes perfect. Like if you go to school, we go to school with other students in the class. We are not the only student in the class. We will never find a situation where the class is only one student. In colleges, sometimes 5. If they go up to the 400 level, they get 5 students, 3 students. But if it's one student, they'll cancel the class and say, I'm not going to pay this teacher to teach one student for one semester. But if you look at a school setting, it's always more than one student, because we learn in the group of other students. Same thing in Krishna Consciousness. Sometimes what happens is we tend to forget what we have gone through in the material life. The same thing applies in spiritual life, but it's just Krishna conscious. We forget that because we think, no, but spiritual life should be easier than going to school. Right? That's our human tendency. But why? But I mean, yes, I have to, go to school, go for 12 years, then go to college, but there's a lot of work. But Krishna consciousness should be very easy. Why is it so difficult? It's even more difficult than going to school. The reason being is when we start thinking that Krishna consciousness is so easy, we'll take it for granted. We will not develop the taste for it. We'll say, yeah, it's right there. Yeah, it's, whatever. Just walk to them, come back, it's easy. We take it for granted. And as soon as we take it for granted, we lose the taste, we lose the connection. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying that spiritual life begins with sincere faith followed by devotee association, because in the devotee association is where we begin to practice the 9 folds of devotional service. What is the first one? Who can tell me? Shravanam, hearing. Next one is Kirtanam, is chanting. Third is Smaranam, meaning remembering. Isn't it interesting that remembering is the third and not the first? Because we need to hear. The more we hear, the more we remember. The less we hear, then we don't remember. Like in school, right? When you go to school, if you do not remember, if you don't hear what the teacher said, you're not going to remember anything for your test. You have to pay attention in class. You have to pay attention in class. If we do not pay attention in class, we're not going to remember anything. Sometimes, now it's very common. When I was in college 30-something years ago, at the time, I don't think cell phones were not there, right? When did cell phones come out? I don't know, but anyway, I know 30 years ago there was no cell phones, that much I know. But I think at the time, Walkman. How many of you have seen a Walkman before? Yeah, that was like the thing at that time, right? So Walkman was a common thing 30, 40 years ago, And I remember when I used to sit in class, and when the teacher and some notorious kids, just come to waste their parents' money, and they have a Walkman. And the teacher is going on, lecturing, and the kid is at the back with the Walkman, not hearing anything to the teacher. How will they remember? They'll only remember what they heard in the Walkman music, not what the teacher spoke in class. So here, it's first hearing, Shravanam, chanting, Kirtanam. Smaranam is the third, remembering. What's the fourth? Padasevanam. What is the English for that? Worship. Archanam. Deity worship. Vandanam. Prayer. It's interesting how prayer is part of the 9 folds. Chanting is one of the kind of prayers, but chanting is to help us to get our minds together to focus on the Lord. But prayer is in addition to chanting. Sometimes we think, oh, I finished my 16 rounds, so I'm good. I don't have to pray. We only pray when we want help. Right? If not, we don't pray. We're like, my day is good. I don't need to pray. But prayer is in addition to chanting. Dasyam. What's dasyam? Servant. Servitude. How to learn to be a servant. Sakyam. Friendship. Atma Nivedana. That's the highest. Total full surrender. The 9 processes sounds very easy, but it's very, very difficult. Because the biggest challenge is the hearing. Like we discussed, right? Krishna gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, but which one runs faster? Faster than the speed of God knows what. And the thing is that this one runs faster, but this one tends to go close up. The ears. So we have to flip it. We have to do less of this and more of this. Very, very, very important. Because the more we use this, we'll remember. The more we use this, we'll remember nothing. So going back to what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, when we really follow the 9 processes of devotional service, we can attain the highest level of really connecting with the Lord and really feeling, oh my God, Krishna, where are you? Tears are actually flowing from my eyes. Where are you? I'm looking for you. Then we have to ask ourselves, but why is it not happening to me? Then first we have to ask ourselves, are we living in a natural state in this material world? What do you think? We are not. We are not living in a natural state of the material world. Why is that so? Because we are in a prison with invisible walls. We are bounded by rules, by the law, by power. We are bounded, by restrictions. Is that natural? It's not natural. We live in a very unnatural state. But interestingly, we also have to understand that the activities in the spiritual world is a perverted reflection. What we do here is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Like in the spiritual world, they dance. But they dance for the Lord. Do humans dance in the material world? Yes, they do. But those who are non-devotees, what do they dance? Hip-hop, discotheques, what else? Bollywood. I don't know what else is there. I've lost. Whenever I think of disco, I think of 1980 because I don't know what they call it in today's time, right? But if we use that same form of dance for the Lord, we've spiritualized it. But we're living in a material world where everything is perverted and we're using it for wrong purposes. That is a very unnatural state for us to live in. Very, very natural state. For example, if we dance, if we sing, if we cook, if we do everything meant for the Lord, it's spiritual. But if it's meant for our satisfaction, it's not spiritual. But unfortunately, we live in a world where it makes us do things unspiritual because we're living in a very unnatural world. Very, very unnatural. I mean, if you sometimes, and probably for the kids, it might seem, but what is so unnatural? Mommy, daddy gives me food. Mommy, daddy gives me clothes. There's a roof over my head, food on the table. The bills are paid. When in the morning we get up, there's hot water, take a shower. Everything looks perfect. But the parents know what they have to go through to pay those bills. To make the children feel comfortable. Until the children grow up and become adults, and then they join the unnatural state of life in the material world. I'm like, oh yeah, man, now I know what my dad went to put me all through that college and school and all that. Then they begin, oh yeah, we are really in an unnatural state of life. Oh yeah, so whatever I heard in classes in Bhagavad Gita is true. It's not just a story, you know. But we live in a very unnatural way of life. If we think of the frog philosophy, what is the frog philosophy? How many of you know what is the frog philosophy? Yes, please share it. We are actually living in a frog philosophy because we think, oh, this world is so beautiful. Because we haven't experienced, we don't know what is it like in the spiritual world. We are actually living in a frog philosophy. We are in a well because we cannot see farther out than this blue skies out there. We can't see anything out above that. But we think, oh, but it's so beautiful here. And if someone tells us, oh, but you know what? In the spiritual world, it's this, it's that. And we think, oh, really? This must be from, Sleeping Beauty story or Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs story. We think that it's a story because everything looks so great here. How can it be anything better than that? But the material world makes us feel that everything is beautiful. Because why? We have so many bombardments and attractions to tie us down. I don't know how many of you get robocalls, but I get robocalls every single day. And the habit is I just delete, ignore, block, delete. Because why is that? Because they are there to make us get caught. Like my sister works for a credit union. And sometimes she helps the loan department. And sometimes, I don't know if you know, but in the banking world, every loan officer has a target that they have to meet to get their commission. And if they don't meet their target, they don't get the commission. So I used to always tease her and tell her, why do you guys put us in debt all the time? That's what loan officers do. They give us something interesting and enticing and, oh, really? And then we just get so swallowed in and we're like, oh, wow, yeah. But we don't know that we're getting more and more and more in debt. Literally more in debt. But that's their job. Their job is to put us in debt so that we can be in more debt, but they get the commission. Talk about an unnatural state of living in the material world. Right? But why? Because we are living in the well. The frog philosophy, we just think, what's so bad about this place? And I remember in 2012 when I took my whole family to my country. And of course, it's Shri Shri Gonitai ki, Jagnavali Subhadra ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. And the first time they flew out of the country, and they've never been in a plane before. So, in 2012 they released the first A380 flight, the double-decker plane. And that was their first flight, and they were like, whoa, Mom, this feels like a house. I'm like, yeah, right, wait till you go up and you get your plane, then you know what it's like. Right? And then when they landed in Singapore, that's my home country, they're like, Mom, this is better than US. And Parikshit said, nothing is better than the spiritual world. Because we get so caught up. We always think the grass is greener on the other side. But the grass is not green anywhere because it's the same grass. It's not different. It's the same thing. But we always think, oh, but it's better that side. No, it's not. Because we are living in the frog philosophy. We cannot see what is beyond this. But if we read the Bhagavatam, if we hear from senior devotees, they will tell us that the spiritual world is so beautiful. It's like, I don't know how many of you know this, but the weather in the spiritual world is consistently 75 degrees. Consistently. You don't need coats. Thank God I hate coats. You don't need any coats. Consistently. And the grass is always green. No mowing, by the way. It stays the consistent height. There's no, you don't have to mow the lawn. Forget about getting a riding mower, right? We don't need to get the pruning scissors or whatever you call that thingy. It's just beautiful. But we think he is better. So we have to think, why am I stuck? Because when we get so much more comfortable living in this material world, it blocks us from connecting with the chanting of the holy name. And it blocks us from working on ourselves. And that's why we cannot get the tears flowing from our eyes, because we're enjoying the material world. Everything looks so beautiful. Everything looks so attractive. Everything looks so, wonderful. Like everything is so nice. But we forget, but that's a much better place. That is the spiritual world. And Srila Prabhupada says, it's a very good point, Srila Prabhupada says, he stressed the dangers of distorted and concocted philosophy. When someone takes a piece of glass, nicely cuts it and say, Ishika, this is a diamond. If Ishika doesn't know, and she goes, wow, it's a diamond. But it's not a diamond, it's a glass. It's concocted. If someone says, this is real money, but it's fake money, we can't tell the difference. I don't know how many of you have seen fake money. It looks real. I used to work in the bank, so I know. It looks real. But we can't tell. Those of us who haven't worked in the bank, we can't tell, oh, is this fake or it looks duplicate. Because why? There are people out there that are trying to concoct and distort the philosophy. That is the reason why Srila Prabhupada said it's very important that we look with spirituality through the eyes of a pure devotee. Because our eyes are tinged with dirt. We have to look at philosophy and learn through the eyes of a devotee, a pure devotee of the Lord. Because we can't tell fake money and real money. I can tell. I work in the bank, but there are many people that can't tell. I remember when I worked in the bank, I don't know how many years ago, and we get a lot of drug money. Drug money meaning people who use money to buy drugs. And those of us living in the bank can actually tell that the money was used for selling drugs. So one time my husband came to pick me up at the bank, and my hands smelled like marijuana. He says, why does your hands smell like marijuana? I said, because I was counting drug money in the bank. But someone who don't know the smell of marijuana, they're like, they can't tell. But that's how it is. It smells like marijuana. But they use it for buying drugs. But to us, it's like, oh, it's like real money. It's clean money. No, it's not. Because of our training in the banking world, we can differentiate real money and fake money, drug money and non-drug. We can differentiate. Why? Because we were taught by the banking world. Same thing in Krishna Consciousness. In order for us to see it very clearly, we have to see it through the eyes of a pure devotee. Very important that we really, really, really understand that. So the million-dollar question is, we live in a very unnatural material world. We perform activities that are perverted, reflection of the spiritual world, like we dance for the Lord. They do the same thing there. But non-devotees dance in discotheques and this and that and parties and this and that, whatever. Right? Devotees, you dance for the Lord. Non-devotees, when they eat for their sense gratification, but we offer food to the Lord. So everything we do is in service of the Lord. We are trying to use everything for the service of the Lord. So let me ask you a question. If we were not practicing devotional life, where do you think you will be on this wonderful Sunday afternoon? I'll tell you where I'll be. I'll be taking a nap. Where do you think we will be on the Sunday afternoon if we were not devotees? Let's hear some answers. No wrong answers. You don't have to be shy. And don't worry, you will not be punished. Mall? Definitely for the women it's a mall. I hate the mall. That's why I don't say mall. I really hate mall shopping. I just hate shopping, period. Right? For the women, it'll be like, okay, Macy's got a sale, JCPenney got a sale, it's clearance time, it's President's Day. President's Day, they've got sale, we'll be at the mall. Right? Where will the men be on a Sunday afternoon if they were not Krishna conscious? Nap, like me too, exactly. Him and I think very alike, me and Dear Krishna. We take a nap. Where would the kids be? Where would you be? What do you say? Partying. Did you say partying? Yeah. Teenage kids, that's what they do. Where would the girls be? What would you guys do? Shopping. Or? Watching TV at home, being a couch potato. Right? But look at us using that, and we are all here in Krishna's service. So the $1 million question is, when will my eyes have tears flowing constantly? When will my voice choke up? When will my hair stand on end? When? We want to know when. What do you think is blocking that from happening? Any feedback? What do you think is blocking us from that? Anarthas, the impediments in devotional service. That's the first one that's blocking us. If we want to experience tears of love flowing down our eyes, we have to remove the obstacles that is blocking us from devotional life. And one may ask, what are the obstacles? Each of us will have different answers, because my obstacles will be different from your obstacles. Yours will be different from his obstacles. It's different. But the obstacles that is blocking us from devotional life. I remember when I was growing up as a Christian, my father was very strict, and like I said, he was he still is a Christian church minister. He's very strict, very, very strict on keeping the Sabbath holy. It's our, they do it from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, like very holy. He won't even go to the grocery store on that day. He said, this is God's time. Very strict. And I remember one time my mother, she was cooking during the Sabbath hours, during that holy time, and she ran out of salt. And she couldn't tell my dad, I got no salt, I have to go to the store. If not, she would be like, my dad was very strict, because he trained us to really see, if this time is for God, nothing should come in between. So when my mother had me go to the store, I said, Mommy, I'm not going because Daddy's awake. He says, when your dad takes a nap, you sneak in quickly, get in and come back in, but don't tell him anything. He was very strict. Now, at that time, when I was young, I was like, why was Daddy so strict? Man, but when I look back, I'm glad he was. Because it helped me to understand when it's time for Krishna, it's time for Krishna. Nothing should come in between. When it's time to chant, it's time to chant. When it's Sunday program, it's Sunday program. Nothing should come in between. Very, very strict. That's how he drilled. He would drill us. I mean, if you ask my sister, she'll have stories for you, but he was very strict. And we strictly followed that. But that is the way we figure out, okay, this is blocking my devotional life. These are the obstacles. We have to remove the obstacles on the path of devotional life. Number 2, when our desires is separate from Krishna's desires. Critical point. When our desires are separate from Krishna's desires. Now, does that mean that we are desireless? We are not. Everybody has desires. We cannot wipe out the desires. In our class last Friday, I think, or Thursday, on Bhagavatam class, in the purport, that's why it's so nice to hear Bhagavatam class. You know, some of it is like so sweet. Prabhupada says, desires cannot be wiped out, but it can be purified. So we are not desireless, but how do we make our desires purified? That's the key point. How do you make it clean? So it's very important that we get this mindset of understanding, is it my desire or is it Krishna's desire? We can say, I want. As soon as we say, I want, it is my desire. But when we say, if Krishna desires, it will happen. But be ready that he may not let it always happen. Man proposes, God disposes. If we say, I want to go to Johns Hopkins University because I want it, the Lord has to make it happen. If it doesn't happen, don't fret it. It's not meant to be. Doesn't mean that all the other schools are no good. If they are no good, then why are they having millions of dollars and they're having so many students? Right? We can have all the desires we want, but the ultimate word is Krishna. And when he says no, accept it as the Lord's mercy. Very important. Another question is when we learn that we need more devotee association. We can never say, oh, today I had enough devotee association. There is no cap to devotee association. You cannot close the lid and say, I'm done. We need to hanker for more devotee association. Why? Because in devotee association is when we learn how to practice the 9 folds of devotional service. We cannot do it on our own. Definitely not. We need to hanker for more devotee association. Another point is when we realize the need for more spiritual nourishment. Sometimes we think, and this topic came up in our women's Sangha yesterday. It was so interesting. I just had to laugh about it, and I thought about it overnight till this morning. One Mataji was saying at our Chill Chat Women's Sangha yesterday, we were talking about spiritual nourishment, always wanting to hear, and learn. And one Mataji said, but Mataji, sometimes we meet devotees who are initiated, and they feel like I got my bachelor's degree. And I said, Hari Bol. And she said, but initiation means initial. I said, yes, kindergarten class. Because as soon as we get initiated and we say, I got this, it's like saying, I've received enough spiritual nourishment, I don't need any more. Once we say that, Chandramali Swami says this. It's a beautiful quote by him. And I'm going to paraphrase what he said. He says, once we think that way, we go down spiritually. sure fall down. We go down spiritually. We should never, ever, ever think, I've had enough spiritual nourishment, I'm good to go. Initiation means initial, beginning. Second birth. You know, when the mother gives birth, the baby is still a newborn, right? And then they grow. So initiation is the same thing. We got a new birth. So if we are 1 year initiated, we are 1 year old. Like Josh's son, 18 months, 2 years, exactly. And they go through the terrible 2 stage, right? Toddlers, exactly. So when you're 2 years initiated, you're 2 years old, you're a toddler. When you've been initiated for 5 years, is 5 years kindergarten or grade 1? There we go, they're in kindergarten. Now let me ask you a question. When you have a 5-year devotee who has been initiated and a 20-year devotee who has been initiated and you need help, would you go to a kindergarten or 20 years as what? 4th year university? Would you go to a grade 1 or 4th year university for help? 4th year university for help. You won't go to 5-year-old because they're in kindergarten. You go to a university student who's 20 years in the movement because they have gone through the training and they still continue. Very important. When we realize that I can never get enough spiritual nourishment, we are hankering for more. Another point is when we lose taste of hearing mundane topics. Who won the war? You know, who was the next Miss Universe, right? Who was the next Miss USA? Who won the Wimbledon Cup? You know, what's happening in the world out there? That's always going to happen. When we lose interest in such topics, then we know, okay, I'm beginning to grow. Another point is when we develop detachment of sense enjoyment. When we lose taste of anything that makes us happy, like going out to parties, which are also obstacles to the path of devotional life. Going out to parties, going out to, whatever, stuff that is not Krishna conscious, like we lose taste. Like it doesn't interest us anymore, Like the other day, I know, whenever I cook, I have to hear something. But if I hear a lecture, I cannot cook. Because I will stop cooking and hearing the lecture, and then the cooking won't get done, unfortunately, because I have to take notes, I have to hear, and like I said, no, don't play me lecture, because then I cannot cook. So I like to watch B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata. Because I've seen it over and over again, but at least I can see Krishna and Arjuna into something. So the other day, my husband asked me, are you not tired of watching Mahabharata? I said, I will never get bored watching Mahabharata, but I'll get very tired watching the news. It's boring. But I can watch Mahabharata and cook, I'm fine. But don't play the news, please. I don't want to hear any news. It's like, this country shot that country, okay. This one did that, okay. It doesn't, it's like boring. So once we get to lose the taste of such stuff, when we detach from sense gratification, meaning what is gratifying our senses, what's making me satisfied materially, because I feel good. When we get detached from feeling good, as opposed to being attached to what makes Krishna satisfied. Changing our thoughts. Another point, and this is a very big point. When we are pridelessness, this is a big challenge. Too much pride, meaning when we consider I'm important, I have this degree, I have that degree, I'm smarter than you, I know more than you, or I have this position, who are you? Once we start being proud of who we are, what we are, it's a big distraction for developing devotional service, for developing the taste of chanting. Very big distraction. We have to remember that whatever we have is only by the mercy of Krishna. Without God's mercy, we are nothing. We won't even be able to go through high school. literally. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And always feeling that the Lord's mercy is the ultimate necessity. Without the Lord's mercy, we are nothing. Always understanding and realizing how important is the Lord's mercy to me. And having the intense longing for the Lord. You know, whenever our children go to school, we wait for them to come back. And if they're half an hour late, we say, the bus gets stuck somewhere, the bus break down, we get worried. We wait for the kids to walk to the door. Do we have that intense longing for the Lord? Because why all this stuff is blocking it? We have to increase that intense longing for the Lord, crying to the Lord. Sometimes, actually, I read a very nice article. I'm trying to think who it was a few months ago. Oh, I think I know who it is. I think it was a lecture by Chandramali Swami. He said, we should cry, no, Balabhadra Prabhu. He said, we should cry to the Lord that why am I not getting the taste? We shouldn't cry, why is not tears flowing? We should cry to the Lord, why am I not getting the taste? Please crack my heart so I get the taste, because something is blocking. And if it doesn't work, then we pray, Krishna, help me to crack whatever I have to crack to make the tears come out, because I'm not feeling your longing. I'm not feeling it. We have to pray like that. I remember when my spiritual master was leaving his body, I think 1 month before he left his body. He was in a wheelchair. He couldn't walk because one of his foot was amputated, and he broke both his collarbones. So devotees would have to carry him in a wheelchair into the temple room. And when it was time for him to give class, he would just cry. I don't know if you've seen the video on YouTube. He would just cry and cry and cry for 1 hour. And when he cries, we also cry. He would cry and cry and cry and cry, and we couldn't stop him because he was feeling separation from the Lord. Only the pure devotees can feel that. We cannot feel that because we don't have that rasa. We have too many anarthas in our hearts, too many blockages, too many desires, too many ambitions, too many aims, too many goals, too many dreams. That's blocking us from getting to that path. Very, very difficult. So then how do we recognize authentic devotion? How do we do that? Srila Prabhupada says, in order for us to really recognize authentic devotion, we need the mercy of the spiritual master. Without the mercy of the spiritual master, it's very, very, very difficult to really understand pure devotion. Very difficult. Because it's only by the mercy of the Guru that we can get that understanding. It's so important that we really understand how important is hearing, how important is reading, especially devotee association. I mean, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, sincere faith is followed by devotee association. It's only from the devotees that we learn how to chant. It's only from the devotees that we'll learn how to do this, do that. I remember when I was in Atlanta in '94, we went for the Panihati festival. And I was probably few months into the Krishna Consciousness movement. Yeah, few months. And we traveled a group of like 25, 30 of us to Atlanta from Washington, D.C. And that was the first time I learned how to put tilak on by my god sister. Devotee association. When you're with devotees, you learn how to put tilak on. You learn how to do this. You learn how to do that. If it's on your own, you won't learn anything at all. So it's very important that we should always be saying, I want to hear, I want to hear, I want to hear, I want to hear. There is no end to hearing. Just like how there is no end to our desires, to our dreams, to our goals, to our aims, there is no end to hearing. There is no end for spiritual nourishment. There is no end. I remember doing a paper when I was in third grade back in my hometown. And it was on, I forgot what the topic was, but I came across an article where they said there is no end to education. Same thing in Krishna consciousness. There is no end to spiritual nourishment. No end. And as soon as we think, I've got this, I'm good, I've got my bachelor's degree, we go down. We always have to think, I got to go up. I got to hear more, I got to hear more, I got to hear more. So what is the solution? Is we should be ready to align ourselves with association that is going to help us grow higher and higher and higher. We should be ready to be able to distinguish, this is going to disturb my spiritual life. This is going to disturb my spiritual life. This is going to disturb my spiritual life. We have to know, how do I get away from it? Now, another question might be, but you know what? I work. I deal with non-devotees. What do I do? Or my friends in school are non-devotees. What do I do? A very nice advice that my senior god sister said, you give them your association. You don't take their association. So whatever you have that's good, you give that to them. But you don't take their bad habits, you give them your good habits. That is how we can deal, like you guys are in school, you have non-devotee friends, right? Some of us work full-time and we have non-devotee co-workers. So we have to be very, very careful that we give them our association, but we don't take their association. That's how we deal with it. And if we feel that we are not strong enough to do that, avoid it. And how can we become strong to come to that stage? Devotees. They make us strong. They make us strong. If we feel, I'm not strong enough to really not take the association. I'm not strong enough to really, not stand my own ground. That's okay. Nothing wrong. If we come to that stage, then we step away and say, I need more devotee association to make me stronger so that I can stand and not take their crap, but I'll give them what I can give that is good. It takes time to build that. It really takes years. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes years. Very important. Another point is that we cannot reach any Krishna conscious goals without a connection with Krishna's representatives. We need a senior devotee. We need a guru. We need someone that we are always in connection with to reach that spiritual goal. Very, very, very important. And we can get distracted. That's the material world. If you walk down, if you just drive on that 83 highway, you'll see, I don't know, how many billboards. Right? You'll see, I think there was one billboard sign I saw was so funny. I think it was last year, Valentine's Day. Something about a diamond. It made no sense to me. And I'm thinking, why is they putting a diamond? And after a while, my husband said to me, it's Valentine. I said, oh. Completely lost. I had no idea why are they putting a diamond, the Mount's jewel. I'm like, what doesn't mix? Oh, they want the guy to go get a $5,000 ring to put him in debt. Poor kids, poor men. I feel so bad for them, really. But yeah, right? We have enough distractions out there. It is going to always make us, go off the track, to deviate. That's when we have to seek higher association. Be with the devotees more. Associate with them more. Hang out with them like what the boys did. Yesterday, all the boys spent the whole weekend together. How was it? Can I hear some voices? Thank you. You can speak. You don't have to be mom. You can speak. The whole weekend they were together. They cleaned upstairs, they cleaned downstairs, they even cleaned the refrigerator. Thank you. I have been wanting to attack that fridge for a long time, but I couldn't find time, and now I'm like, my hand is like off, so thank you for cleaning the refrigerator. Ram Babu and I are very happy, right? Ram Babu, we are so happy. Thank you, absolutely. They were using their energy for Krishna service in a group association. We have to do more of that. Very, very important. And we should always be looking for ways of getting an excuse to come together for devotee association. And that's why we said, this beautiful temple is here. Rather than doing it outside, do it here. Whether it be pizza night, movie night, kirtan night, service night, temple cleaning, prasad, do it here. The more we do it here, the more this becomes a familiar place. The more we do it in our homes and less in the temple, what happens? You want to stay home. You don't want to come to the temple. Like, we'll just do it at home. Just shut the whole building down. I mean, we are paying the bills for 4 days a month. Big deal. But is that why we got the temple? Krishna gives the temple for what? To hang out here more, to do things here more, to make this place more familiar, not the homes. This place more familiar. That way we know that this is my home. The homes we are paying mortgage, that's temporary. This is our home, close to Prabhupada's lotus feet. Very important. So if we want to have those tears flowing down our eyes and really, really feel the holy name, we got to clean the heart. And the only way to clean the heart is to remove all the crap, all the obstacles, all the anarthas, all the I want desires, right? Remove it, clean it, and really hear when we chant to get the taste. That can only happen in devotee association. That is what Lord Chaitanya came to teach us. When will my eyes be decorated with tears flowing when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up when I chant your holy name? When will the hair stand on end when I chant your holy name? We got to clean up. We got to clean up. And it starts from here. When the hearing goes zoop down here. Clean, 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 clean. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Any comments? Any takeaways? Yes, he's getting the mic.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
This question is from Dear Krishna Prabhu, who's about to get on the altar.
Okay.
So he asks, there's no end to spiritual nourishment, but how do we ensure we are getting the right nourishment and the correct association? Just like a variety of items are available in Walmart, we see so many spiritual avenues in this world. How do we choose what is best for our spiritual health?
First of all, we have to ask ourselves, do we want to be aligned with Prabhupada? That's the first thing. Once we know that I want to be aligned with Srila Prabhupada, then the next step is, who's going to inspire me in my Krishna consciousness? And we choose the right devotee. For example, right, if you see 5 brands of pasta, for example, there's so many. Now they got plant-based pasta and all kinds of pasta, right? But when you flip at the back, what do? Why do you read the ingredients? to see whether it's safe, whether there's no eggs, no this, no that, right? You want to check. You want to make sure, is this safe for my health or not? Is this safe for my diet or not? In that same way, we have to choose the right association to say, will this person help me to grow, or will he put me in the gossip world? Right, Rohan? It's very important. And also, again, going back to association, we want to ask ourselves, if I need help, do I go to someone who's been practicing for 5 years or 20 years? Or 30 years? Or 40 years? Because someone who's practicing for 5 years is still in kindergarten. But someone's been for 20, 30 years, they've already finished college and graduated. Right? So we have to ask ourselves, okay, do I want to learn from someone who's much older? Like, finish college and all that, or someone who's in kindergarten? And then watch their mood, their character. I was watching a very nice video that was sent to me by a devotee yesterday. And this devotee asked a question, something about kirtaniya and kirtans. Trying to remember what it is. But the answer was, if you want to follow kirtaniya, see how they live their life after they sing the kirtan. How to become a good kirtaniya. Right? How to recognize a good kirtaniya. Right? If you want to recognize a good kirtaniya, you have to ask yourselves, so the answer was, see what they do after they sing kirtan. See how they behave. Are they walking their talk? Or are they a parrot? And when they finish this one, they go, okay, it's time for Super Bowl game. Oh, you know what? I have to go get something from the store, probably some liquor, We have to watch their behavior. It's very, very important that whoever we choose the right association, that whatever the person is speaking, outside of that, they are walking the talk. Walking the talk is very difficult. Speaking is very easy. You can even you actually forget the parrot. You can just record it on a player and just press play and then rewind and forward. But you have to see, is that person acting what he's saying? That's very hard to find. If they say no to me, are they also doing it? That's why when we hear kirtans from a kirtaniya, we have to ask ourselves, he sings so beautifully. Let me see what he does after he sings kirtan. And then you'll see him probably talking bad about others, probably gossiping, probably, whatever. That is not Krishna conscious. That's how, same thing with association. And if we want to be aligned with Srila Prabhupada, then the person who is speaking should also be very much attached to Prabhupada and to his teachings and to his instructions. Because if they just speak about Prabhupada, but they don't follow Prabhupada, or they don't talk about Prabhupada, then you're like, wait, he just gave a 1 hour class of Prabhupada, but in his other program, he's speaking something that's not Prabhupada. This doesn't match up. Very, very important. That is the reason why we have a check and balance system. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. And that's a very nice pastime, a quote from Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. There was one devotee that was Ram Bhakta. And he was always chanting Ram, 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 Ram. And he said, I'm feeling such deep longing for Lord Ram. I want to end my life. So he went in front of the train so that the train can kill him. Because I want to go to Lord Ram. I'm feeling such separation, Vipalamba, such separation. And some people saw him and pulled him out of the train tracks. So the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, Maharaj, this is very pakka Ram Bhakta. He is feeling such separation from Lord Ram. I think you should come meet him. Thakurji said, okay, let me go meet him. So he went to meet him. And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj asked this devotee, is your relationship with Lord Ram direct or indirect? The devotee explained that he felt great anxiety. He had so much love that it's direct. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, who is Prabhupada's guru, said to his disciples, let's go. This is not pure prema. It's just a tinge. Because once we feel the tinge, we're like, oh, I'm this elevated, advanced devotee, I'm feeling separation. It's they call shadow ecstasy. It's not pure prema. Trying to fake it. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, because Prabhupada's guru was a ray of Vishnu. So he said, that is not real prema. He says we have to follow Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra to get the right association, because this devotee was not getting the proper association. So if we want to see and mind the right association, check. Is he following his Guru's instructions? Is he following Prabhupada's instructions? Number 2. Is he following what Prabhupada is saying in the Shastra, or is he concocting his own philosophy? Number 3, sadhu. How does he treat devotees? How is his devotee association? How is his mood with the devotees? Is he trying to be this pakka preachers? Like I said in yesterday's chill chat, one Mataji was saying, Mataji, nowadays there are so many preachers, they feel they're so pakka. But a true preacher will never act like they're so all that. They'll be very, very simple. And even the way they speak, we can tell. Is he speaking with confidence from the Shastra? Or is he trying to, what's the word? Slipped my mind, Krishna Chaitanya. Or is he trying to make it sound like, oh, just listen to me. I got all your answers, the questions answered. Very, very careful. And I'll throw in a 4th example, the 4th to the 3. If we still haven't figured out the 3, the 4th and the safest spot is go to a senior devotee or to a proper disciple or to the guru and said, help me because I'm still not clear. And surrender to hear what they say. Even if you still don't know the 3 answers, the 4th is always the safest. Take the guidance of a senior devotee. Take the guidance of a guru, a proper disciple, and ask, what? Is this the right association for me? Because I'm feeling this is, what do you think? Please guide me. And as soon as we ask somebody to please guide me, we better be surrendered. Because they will say something that we may not like, but it's for our benefit. That's why Atma Nivedanam, the highest one, is not that easy. It's the 9th process, but we can't even go to the Shravanam. Forget the 9th process. So Guru, Sadhu, Shastra will help us to determine the right association. And taking shelter of senior devotees, again, we have to be very careful when we decide who is senior. Because right now, there are people who got initiated 1 year and they say, I'm senior. Seniority is gauged by, are they following Prabhupada's teachings? Are they aligned with what Srila Prabhupada said? Are they following what they were taught by their seniors? Another point that we talked about at the chill chat is, for example, I went to school and learned from my teachers. My teacher learned from his or her teacher. Even in the school system, they had a parampara system. And their teacher learned from another teacher. Right? Same thing. We have to ask. I have to ask myself, I am following this, I'm taking shelter of this senior, is this senior following another senior? If that senior is not following another senior, then that's where you stop. Am I making sense here? That's where you stop. Because if I'm taking, for example, if Vishaka is taking shelter of Dear Krishna for Shiksha, and if Dear Krishna is taking shelter of his spiritual master, that's aligned. Because he's getting instructions and guidance from his guru, and he's passing and sharing with her. Now, if Dear Krishna is not taking any instructions from someone else, it stops right there. It's like, red flag. We need the parampara. And like I was sharing at the Women's Sangha, I take shelter from 7 devotees. I've been doing this for almost 30 years, practicing. 7, and majority of proper disciples. And one of them is my very senior most god sister, Mother Rajalila. And few of my god sisters who are senior to me. Altogether, about 10 of them. 10 seniors above my head. And that's what they teach me. That's what they've been doing. But if I am just speaking and I'm not taking shelter from anyone else, don't come listen to me. Don't listen to me. That's how we check. Very important. There has to be a parampara, even for us. If you speak to any proper disciples, even they have shiksha from their god brothers. If they say, I have no shiksha, which they will never say, if they do, don't listen to them. But we cannot hear from someone, even though they are a devotee, we cannot take instructions from a devotee who's not getting instructions from another senior devotee. Very, very, very dangerous. We need that alignment. I know it was a long answer, but I thought it was very, very, very important. I hope I answered your question, Prabhu. Any other questions? You both have something looks like it. No? Okay. Any other questions? That was a long one, but that was a very important question. Very, very, that was also discussed in the chill chat. That was very critical because I see a lot of devotees listening to a senior, supposedly a senior, because they claim to be seniors as soon as they get, but that senior, but that devotee is not listening to anyone else. And they might say, oh, I'm listening to a lecture. No. Mouth-to-mouth connection. We need to talk. That's also a very sensitive topic. Oh, but I heard this lecture, this what so-and-so said, so I'm telling you. No, that is good. But are you discussing and getting instructions from someone else and you're applying it in your own life? Very, very critical. Very critical. It's a two-way reciprocation. It's not just hearing and then passing it on. It's a two-way. It's a personal, not impersonal, it's a personal two-way reciprocation. You hear from me, I hear from someone else, that person hears from someone else. It's a direct two-way reciprocation. Not just one way, I hear the lecture, I'm passing on, that's about it. It doesn't work that way. That is the reason why Krishna consciousness is very scientific, not sentimentalism. Scientific, cause and effect. What you put in, you better get something good out of it. It's cause and effect. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for tolerating. Thank you all for joining. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We'll get ready for Arati. So you sing.
Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, oh Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, oh Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, oh Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, oh Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, oh Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, oh Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jaya Jagannath, Baladeva, Jaya Shri Subhadra. Jaya Narsingadev, 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 Jaya Narsingadev. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Patita Pavana Gauranitai. Haribo, Haribo, Hari, Bonitai Gaura Haribo. Jaya, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Shila Prabhupada. Jaya, Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Shila Gurudev. Gopamanandi.
Paramhamsa Parivacharya Stotra Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Kuri Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai. Jagannathpuri Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki. Samavita Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Jai. So one of you can sing the Sri Harati.
Namaste Nara Shingaya. Namaste Nara Shingaya. Pralada Ladidahine. Pralada Ladidahine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito na shingo, parito na shingo. Yato yato yami tato na shingo. Bahir Shingo Hridayena Shingo Bahena Shingo Hridayena Shingo Bahena Shingo Hridayena Shingo Nara Shinga Madin Sharanam Prapade Nara Shinga Madin Sharanam Prapade Tava Kaira Kamalavadena Khan Adbhuta Shingam Dalitam Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadita Naira Hari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tava Kaira Kamalavadena Khan Adbhuta Shingam Daritam Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nashingare Jaya Nashingare Jaya Nashingare Jaya Nashingare Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya 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 Gurudev, 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 Jaya Shila Gurudev. Bhakti Vignavanashtak Lakshmi Bhagwan Ki, Prahlad Maharaj Ki, Gopramanandi.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thank you so much for coming out on this weekend. It's actually a holiday weekend, but I guess the President's Day doesn't matter so much to us. It changes every 4 years anyway, or 8 years, so, politics goes on. But it's good that we can come together and worship our president, the big boss. That's what I like about it. So thank you so much for coming out. Couple of announcements. I don't want to take too much time because the drama team has a practice till 7:30, so we want to give them more time to get their practice in. So we have the March 5th festival coming up, the Ice and Fire Festival. Yes, the boys are getting ready, the girls are getting ready, the cooking prasadam is taken care of. The one thing that I think will need help is the men will definitely need help to get the setup done between 8:30 to 10 in the morning on March 5th. So as many hands as possible that can help to set up the tents. We will need 2 tents and couple of tables, I guess, and some chairs. We'll get it from the temple. So please do coordinate with the book team because the more hands we get, the quicker it will go. From 8:30 to 10 is the setup. They start at 11 o'clock. So we want to get everything set up between 8:30 to 10. And the Harinam team, if you guys can figure out the comforter thing, the harmonium thing, the cartels thing, the sound system, and the whole 9 yards. So you guys take care of that one. So that's one thing that's coming up. The second thing is March 17th is Gaur Purnima. And I just realized yesterday, St. Nityananda Trayodasi was on Valentine's Day, right? March 17th is St. Patrick's Day. I'm telling you, it's like something is happening this year. There's some kind of Shakti going on, So March 17th, St. Patrick's Day is also Gaur Purnima. And it falls on a Thursday, so we want to make it very, very, very nice because Gaur Purnima is a Vaishnava New Year. It's our Vaishnava New Year. The one that we do on December 31st, it's the American New Year or the Western New, social whatever, the whole world New Year. But for Vaishnavas, Gaudiya Vaishnavas is Gaur Purnima. So we want to make it really, really, really nice and really welcome the Lord on his birthday. Gaur Purnima is normally an Ekadasi, a break fast. We fast till moonrise and then we break it with Ekadasi. And the reason we break it with Ekadasi is because Lord Chaitanya came in the form of a devotee. And because he came in the mood of a devotee, we break fast with Ekadasi Prasadam that evening. So we're still planning the details out for that festival, so please do bear with us. Hopefully the next week, by next Sunday, we'll have something out. And another thing that's coming up is April 9th is Reading Kirtan. I think I'm reminding him rather than him reminding me. And the beauty of it is that it's the day before Ram Navami. Even better. So we have a beautiful, busy weekend. We have Saturday, Reading Kirtan. We will get the details more from Krishna when he finds the spot. Let's do a lot of support. Let's all go out, the book team and the Harinam team. Let's keep that day open. Let's support the Reading Yatra on that day, and then we can come back on Sunday and celebrate Lord Ram's appearance day. Beautiful time, isn't it? It's like awesome. Can't find anything better than that. And Gaur Purnima, the temple will be open from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I'm trying to think of some ideas how to make it very inclusive so that we all can be greedy for Lord Chaitanya's mercy. We can be greedy for Lord Chaitanya's potency, and we can come together and really engage in devotional service. So we'll hope to get the plans out. Until then, please do have a wonderful weekend, rest of the week, and do see the deities, and Prasadam is downstairs. Mamina, you have your drama team going wrong, so I did it as fast as I could, so you have more time for your team. So drama team, please do stay back. Practice till 7:30. Okay? Hari Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.